Prepare to be captivated by a story that defies time itself. In a world where mysteries often remain unsolved, a narrative of intrigue and family awaits. A narrative woven with mysterious threads and illuminated by the torch of hope. Meet Melissa Highsmith, a name echoing through time, a name synonymous with both loss and resilience. In the heart of Fort Worth, Texas, on May 4th, 2023, a remarkable discovery unfolded, unraveling a 51-year-old mystery that had captivated hearts and minds for generations. On this momentous day, DNA testing conducted by the Fort Worth Police confirmed the unimaginable. Melissa Highsmith, known as Melanie for most of her life, was in fact the 22-month-old baby who had been tragically kidnapped by her babysitter all those years ago. Welcome back to the exhilarating and bittersweet world of True Crime Expresso, where we plunge headlong into the fathomless depths of solved and unsolved crimes, coupled with brooding mysteries that will keep you up at night. In today's video, we will untangle the story of Melissa Highsmith, a tale of love, loss, and resilience that transcends time and culminates in an unforgettable reunion of family torn apart by fate. We'll explore the sequence of events that transpired leading up to her family finally finding their long-lost daughter and sister. Let's dial back the hands of time to the heart of the 1960s, when 18-year-old Alta Apentenko and 17-year-old Jeffrey Highsmiths intersected during a blind date, orchestrated by Jeffrey's roommate. Jeffrey fondly recalls his initial impression of Alta's striking beauty when he first set his gaze upon her. Cupid's arrow hit them both swiftly, culminating in marital bliss in November of 1968. She was 19, he was a year younger. A jubilant occasion arrived on November 6, 1969. The couple's life was graced by the arrival of their firstborn, a cherubic baby girl they affectionately named Melissa Highsmith, born in Fort Worth, Texas. The name Melissa was inspired by a friend of Alta's. From Jeffrey's memories, Melissa was a joyous and animated infant, the apple of her father's eye. On the contrary, Alta found the transition into parenthood quite challenging. As one of 12 children, Alta was acquainted with hardship early in life. When her own mother could not shoulder responsibility for all her offspring, the 6 youngest were sent to live in an orphanage. Alta consequently spent 16 formative years at the Church of Christ Children's Home, never experiencing genuine maternal affection. This deprivation cast a shadow over her own journey as a mother. Despite her rough beginnings, Alta, resolute and steadfast, endeavored to ensure that Melissa was privy to the best life she could afford to provide. After relocating to southern Illinois, family life took a turbulent turn as Alta and Jeffrey found themselves constantly at odds. Their incessant quarreling eventually led to the demise of their relationship. They've shared their side of the story in past interviews. Jeffrey faulted for his selfishness and fidelity failings, while Alta was described as harsh and cold. Ultimately, the overflow of negativity became too much, and they decided to part ways. In the aftermath, Alta turned to her brother Perry for support. His assistance allowed her and their daughter Melissa to find refuge back in Fort Worth, Texas, which seemed a promising place to start anew. Initially, they lived with Alta's brother Ed and his wife. However, this arrangement was only temporary, as they later moved in with Alta's niece, Carlene. Despite having numerous siblings, Alta found herself on equal footing with Carlene, who was of the same age. It's unclear what transpired, but the cohabitation fell through at some point, prompting Alta and Melissa to seek shelter with an old friend, Carol. Alta and Carol shared a unique bond, having grown up in the same orphanage. Given that Carol also had a young son, she believed it would be a positive move for them to live together. While cohabitating with her friend Carol, Alta managed to land a job at various churches, handling their cleaning needs. By this means, she was able to provide for her and her daughter. However, Jeffrey was entirely absent from the picture, remitting no financial aid whatsoever. Therefore, it was strictly up to Alta to get through the tough times. With the new job demanding most of her time, it became an imperative concern to find someone capable of caring for little Melissa while she was at work. So on August 18, 1971, she decided to place an ad in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. The ad read, "Babysitter wanted from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Spanish Gate Apartments. Call after 3 p.m." Not long after, Alta got a response from a woman expressing interest in handling the babysitting job. The concept of stranger danger wasn't as prevalent during those times, so there was no way of knowing who this person was. Thus, Alta had no choice but to take this woman at her word. Still, she attempted some groundwork to validate her potential babysitter's identity by scheduling a meeting so she could converse and ask the woman a few vital questions before entrusting her 22-month-old daughter to her. They were supposed to meet outside Alta's workplace, but the woman never showed up. This unforeseen hitch caused considerable anxiety for Alta, who was under pressure to keep her job by showing up at work the next day. Despite the babysitter's no-show at their initial meeting, she eventually called Alta back, assuring her of her intent to care for Melissa. She mentioned a spacious backyard where Melissa could have fun, a detail that certainly appealed to Alta. However, backed against the wall due to her career obligations, Alta felt pressed to accept this babysitter's services despite their shaky beginnings. Thus, on the morning of August 23, 1971, Alta left her daughter Melissa under the temporary watch of her roommate Carol. Intriguingly, even though Carol had her own son, she didn't assume full babysitting duties that day. While the exact reasons for this aren't known, it's speculated that she had pre-existing plans. On that early morning of August, Alta had to quickly leave to work, leaving behind both Melissa and a presumably hungover Carol from the night prior. At around 8:30 a.m., it's presumed someone arrived at home. Now, something peculiar is that it's not certain whether this individual was a man or a woman. They introduced themselves as Ruth Johnson, asserting they were Melissa's expected babysitter. The visitor's noticeable feature was a pair of long white gloves, a curious, almost conspicuous choice considering the searing Texas summer heat. The inclusion of gloves has spurred speculations that they might have been used not only as a clever ploy to disguise the person's true gender, but also as a precautionary measure to leave no DNA evidence behind. As instructed, Carol handed baby Melissa to this person known to her only as Ruth Johnson. Interestingly, upon entering the house and seeing Carol's son, this individual offered to take care of him too. For reasons unknown, Carol declined that offer and passed Melissa on. This was the last time Melissa was ever seen again. Alta, who had been occupied with work all day, had arranged for the babysitter to drop off Melissa around 5 to 6 in the evening once she returned home. However, as Alta anxiously awaited Melissa's arrival, the babysitter failed to show up. With no contact information to reach her, Alta felt helpless. Desperate to find her daughter, Alta called the police, only to be informed that she had to wait for a grueling 24 hours before any action could be taken. As time slowly crept by, there was still no sign of Melissa even after the 24-hour mark had passed. The gravity of the situation prompted both the Fort Worth police and the FBI to join forces in the investigation, which initially honed in on Melissa's father, Jeffrey, as a potential suspect. Despite being equally stunned by Melissa's sudden disappearance, Jeffrey found himself under scrutiny. However, as detectives delved deeper into the case, they began to shift their focus from a family-centric perspective to a more sinister possibility: a non-family infant abduction. Recent studies conducted by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children revealed that such abductions were often perpetrated by single women who, unable to conceive their own children, resulted in them finding ways to get children even if that meant taking them from someone else. This theory became the prevailing hypothesis in the search for Melissa, persisting throughout the decades. In the aftermath of Melissa's abduction, the stormy days, weeks, and eventual months took a significant toll on Alta. She was ensnared in a relentless cycle of guilt and self-blame. The pain was excruciating to bear. Every day was a trial. In an attempt to soothe her hurting heart, Alta attempted reconciliation with Jeffrey, who, troubled by his own emotional turmoil, initially rejected the proposition. It would take around 2 years before Jeffrey ultimately decided to return to Fort Worth, and the couple would renew their vows in a quieter, more intimate remarrying ceremony. In the following years, joy once again resurfaced in the lives of Alta and Jeffrey. They welcomed 4 new blessings: 3 daughters, Rebecca, Vicky, and Sharon, and a son named Jeffrey, who was affectionately named after his father. However, there was an untold secret. The children were unaware of their missing sibling for many years. It was a secret deeply buried, revealing itself only when the children were around 8 or 9 years of age. It was their father, Jeffrey, who initiated these difficult conversations, while Alta, constantly haunted by her past and overwhelmed with her perceived culpability in Melissa's disappearance, clung to her silence. As the years slipped by, the weight of this unclosed chapter became heavier. The realization dawned on them. They had a sister, a sibling, who might still be a lingering presence in the world, somewhere out there. This thought ignited an undying flame of curiosity and a renewed interest in finding the missing link of their family, their sister Melissa. For years, the family refused to give up hope, tirelessly searching for Melissa. They shared their heart-wrenching story through podcasts, newspapers, and even online forums like Web Sleuths, keeping her name alive and in the public eye. And in the modern age of technology, they embraced social media, creating a Facebook page called Finding Melissa Highsmith, reaching out for help from anyone who could help them uncover the truth. The Highsmith family's quest to find Melissa took them on a roller coaster of hope and heartbreak. Their determination knew no bounds as they rushed across states, chasing every lead that seemed promising. Then, in September of 2022, a glimmer of hope emerged when the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received an anonymous tip about a possible sighting in South Carolina. Though it ultimately led to a dead end, that near breakthrough reignited the family's fire to continue the search. But the turning point came on November 6th when Jeffrey Highsmith, Melissa's brother, received his 23andMe results, revealing a mysterious match with a granddaughter he never knew existed. The revelation left him speechless, and when Del Bosque investigated further on Ancestry.com, she found that this newfound granddaughter shared a last name with 2 boys who could potentially be Melissa's nephews. As the pieces of the puzzle started falling into place, the family couldn't help but feel a surge of renewed hope and determination. The long years of uncertainty and tireless searching were finally showing signs of a breakthrough. Their persistence and use of modern technology seemed to be paying off, bringing them closer to solving the decades-old mystery and reuniting with Melissa, the missing piece of their family's puzzle. The journey was far from over, but they knew they would never give up until they embraced Melissa once again. The Highsmith sisters were elated to discover that the DNA results indicated a sibling match, confirming that the 3 children belonged to one of Melissa's sisters. Seeking further validation, they turned to Lisa Jo Scheil, an amateur genealogist who meticulously analyzed the DNA charts. Within no time, Scheil confirmed that these children were undoubtedly closely related to Melissa, leaving no room for doubt. With newfound hope and determination, Scheil connected with the children's adoptive father, who provided crucial details about Melissa's past, including the first name she was using and her ex-husband's full name. Armed with this information, the sisters embarked on their quest, ultimately leading them to Melissa's Facebook page. Nervously, they reached out to her, sending a heartfelt message expressing their belief that they were family. At first, Melissa was skeptical. The idea of connecting with a long-lost family member seemed surreal and almost too good to be true. But then the Highsmiths mentioned a unique birthmark on her back, a deeply personal detail that struck a chord in Melissa's heart. Slowly, her skepticism waned, and she agreed to take a DNA test, hoping to finally find the answers she had been seeking for so long. The tension and anticipation grew as the results were awaited, but in their hearts, the Highsmiths knew that they had found their missing piece. As the day of revelation approached, their bond with Melissa strengthened, regardless of the outcome. They had already overcome so much, and this newfound connection was a testament to the unwavering love and resilience of a family separated by fate, but brought together again through perseverance and the power of a shared bloodline. On that unforgettable day of November 26th, the Highsmith family gathered at their cherished church in Fort Worth to celebrate the miraculous return of Melissa. Overwhelmed with emotion, Victoria Garner couldn't hold back her tears of joy, still in awe that her sister was right there before her eyes, a reality they had dreamed of for so long. The joyous reunion left them all in a state of disbelief, as the reality of finding Melissa sank in. In their statement, Sharon Highsmith, who resides in Spain and eagerly awaits meeting Melissa this Christmas, revealed the family's tireless efforts to locate her, Throughout their arduous journey, the family faced challenges with agencies mismanaging the case, which added to their pain and frustration. But now, all they want is to embrace Melissa, to welcome her wholeheartedly into the family, and to make up for the 50 years of precious time they lost. This reunion is a testament to their unwavering love, resilience, and determination. A heartwarming tale of a family reunited against all odds, proving that love and hope can conquer even the most daunting of mysteries. What is clear, however, is the deep loneliness and sense of being unwanted that Melissa endured throughout her upbringing. Little did she know, however, that her birth family never stopped searching for her. The Highsmiths made sure to keep her name alive in the public eye, hosting birthday parties for her every year, and doing everything in their power to find her. Unfortunately, however, the statute of limitations for criminal prosecution expired 2 decades after Melissa's 18th birthday, which left justice elusive. The truth may not be fully uncovered, but one thing is certain: Melissa is finally home, surrounded by the love and acceptance she had longed for. Melissa's reunion with her birth family revealed a heartbreaking truth about her upbringing. Raised under the name Melanie Miyoko, just minutes away from the Highsmiths in Cowtown, her upbringing was shrouded in mystery. It is uncertain whether the person who initially kidnapped her was the same woman who raised her. Her relationship with the woman who raised her, whom she referred to as Mom, was strained from the beginning, and at the age of 15, she left home. When confronted recently by Melissa's sisters, this woman confirmed that she knew Melissa was the victim of a kidnapping. Melissa's own words shed light on the painful memories she carried with her from her childhood. She expressed that she and her mom were never close, and her time with her was marked by a difficult and tumultuous upbringing. Forbidden from experiencing the simple joys of childhood, Melissa was never allowed to go outside and play, always being sheltered from the world around her. The reason given for this extreme sheltering was deeply hurtful. She was told it was because she was born at home and had brain damage. The revelations opened up wounds that had been hidden for far too long, underscoring the emotional turmoil Melissa endured during her upbringing. Somewhere along her journey, Melissa relocated to Charleston, South Carolina, a distant 1,000 miles from her birthplace. It was there, thanks to the power of the internet, that the initial contact with her birth family took place. Initially skeptical, she feared it might be a scam, but as she delved deeper into the messages and connected with her newfound family, the truth unraveled before her eyes. Despite being burdened with guilt after Melissa's disappearance, their mother faced hurtful accusations, including the possibility of being involved in her daughter's disappearance. The family statement emphasized that their mother did the best she could with limited resources, entrusting Melissa's care to the person who offered to look after her while she worked. Vindication finally came for their mother with a sense of closure to a painful chapter in their lives. The Highsmith family's message to those searching for missing loved ones is one of unwavering determination. Never give up, and chase every lead. Their own relentless pursuit ultimately led to Melissa's rediscovery, proving that hope and persistence can conquer even the most challenging of circumstances. On the momentous day of May 4th, 2023, the truth was finally confirmed, and the long-standing mystery was laid to rest. The Fort Worth police completed the DNA testing, verifying that Melissa Highsmith was indeed the 22-month-old baby who was tragically kidnapped by her babysitter 51 years ago. Now, with the truth revealed, Melissa is navigating a new chapter in her life, filled with the love and embrace of her birth family. The enormity of the discovery is sinking in as she comes to terms with having 2 parents, 4 siblings, and a plethora of nieces and nephews who were desperate to find her. The revolution of her vast and caring family left Melissa astounded. She had once believed that she had little family, but now she knows that she has a huge and loving support system who never ceased their search for her. The connection with her mother, whom she felt an immediate bond with, is a heartwarming testament to the power of familial ties, transcending time and distance. As she continues to adjust to her newfound identity, Melissa is reclaiming her original first name, shedding the name Melanie that she carried for most of her life. Her desire to spend more time with her mother and the urge to have her father walk her down the aisle in a renewed wedding with her current husband are beautiful gestures of love and reconciliation. As we conclude this extraordinary journey of Melissa Highsmith's rediscovery, we are left with lingering questions that tug at our hearts. Who was the mysterious individual wearing white gloves all those years ago? What will her future hold now as she embraces her original name and forges new bonds with her birth family? Let us know your thoughts down below.